Octagon is not just in Las Vegas anymore. Nope, guys, it's also in your hands. With DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. Get ready, because when Rob faces off against John in a rematch at UFC 323, every punch, every takedown, every finish, every attempt has the potential to pay off for you in real time. New customers can turn $5 into $200 if your bet wins, paid instantly in bonus bets. And hey, Missouri, the wait is over. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets in DraftKings same-game parlays. This gives you a shot at an even bigger payout. Do you love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has you covered. Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports and have the shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. When you do, use the promo code SONNEN. That's code SONNEN to turn $5 in bets into $200 in bonus bets if your pick wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Henry Cejudo came out and he made a very simple statement. And Henry simply said, as it pertains to the eye poke, everybody needs to man up. All right, great. What does that mean? Well, I click and I read about it. And Henry's just saying, make a call. All right, I'm out. That's my new opinion. What Henry just said, that's my new opinion. It's simple. It's to the point. It's been my opinion from the beginning. I'll spend 8 or 9 minutes going in circles with you guys about eye pokes. That's all I'm trying to say. Make a call. Great, let's discuss two things. There is one word that keeps this business afloat. Now, you are told to the point that you repeat a number of other things, just none of them are so. Knockouts. Exciting fights. I hear you talk about, oh, wow moments. None of those keep the business afloat. There's only one word. And that word is anticipation. It does not matter how great the match was. That's make-believe. It does not matter what the finish was. That's make-believe. There must be an anticipation before the match happens. That's where the commerce gets done. That's where the ticket gets bought or the button gets pushed. There has to be. And the one word, if you had to use one, but what keeps the business afloat or it doesn't is anticipation. You can build that or you can't. Doesn't matter what their resumes are. Doesn't matter how good the fighters are. This is all pretend. This is all make-believe. We have the best fighters. This is all pretend. You could have two bums if the audience is looking forward to it. Now, the thing that you like about MMA, okay, and here's another one where the last person you want to ask, what do you like about MMA, is the fan. It's not the fan's job to know, but I'm just sharing. The last person you want to ask is the fan. They don't know. Let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you why this resonates. Let me tell you why this can be done in any language. Let me tell you why this is one of the few sporting events you could watch on mute and still enjoy at a bar or at a party. Conflict. Conflict resolution. That's what this in business is. You build an anticipation for conflict, and you resolve it. It's why draws are so frowned upon. How would a draw be frowned upon? Sounds like two athletes went out and they did a great job and it was tit for tat, and listen, there's no losers tonight. That's a feel-good moment, right? Know what you're tuning in for. The Dana White Contender Series, which might be the best MMA programming on TV right now, you're not, you believe you're tuning in to watch somebody get a contract. You're not. You're actually tuning in to see the people that are not given a contract. You're tuning in to see that angst, that disappointment, whether you know it or not. Now, I take the moment to condescend to you because that really was the problem with Tom versus Surreal, right? That really was the problem. We got two heavyweights. We got to fight. We got this guy did this, and this guy did this, and we got here for this reason, and we got here for this reason. And by the way, this is a stopping off point so that we can try to get to John Jones or find out what this Pierre business is, or just move on to somebody else in general. Like the last thing we want to do is see you guys fight for 5 rounds. Oh my God, heaven forbid. Then we got to see you fight another 5. Get it over with. And that was the big problem the night of this fight. It's just simply that there wasn't resolution. You didn't lose sleep that Surreal didn't get his moment after putting on a few great moments. And you also didn't lose sleep as much as you pretended to that Tom was poked in the eye. What was bothersome is we're not done. Now we got to do this whole thing again. And we're not looking to see it happen again for big punches or a big takedown or a big knockout. We just want it resolved so we can move on. Now, that's just the business. That's not unique to that fight. That's just the business. I think Henry makes a great point. I mean, what are we doing? You want to meet about meeting? You want to talk about talking? I mean, I see all these things online that UFC, and they're so cheap, and they ought to just do a glove. And if they just did a glove, they would have seen that. Shut up. Shut up about your little gloves. Shut up about all that stuff. And do what Henry said. Make a decision. Are eye pokes no big deal? Fair enough, but are they no big deal? Well, things happen. Guy pokes this little tiny part of a guy that could impair and handicap him for the rest of life. Is that no big deal? Fair enough. Tell us the rules. We're not overly squeamish. We're not prudes about very tough consequences and rules, but tell us the rule. Have some balls, like Henry said. Is it a big deal? If it is a big deal, why does it not come with a punishment? I mean, particularly in hindsight, if you look at everything that it cost Tom, and it cost Tom a potential fight at the White House, we're told, against John Jones. And I don't know if it would go in that direction. I'm just sharing with you, it cannot go in that direction now. It cost him an opportunity. I don't know how it works contractually. As a matter of fact, I must tell you, I don't know. Everybody's contract is boilerplate. So whatever I had, they would have. But I actually can't remember. It was a clause that I did not take the time to learn. It was an unforeseen, that if a fight was to go to a no contest. I'm not actually certain that that counts. Tom owed 3 fights, according to his father. Wanted to exhaust those 3 fights, was not going to re-sign with the UFC, and was going to look into boxing. It was just according to Tom's dad. I don't think he used one of those 3. I believe when it's a no contest, it does not go against that. Therefore, Tom would owe another 3 fights. Which at the absolute snail's pace that the heavyweight division moves at is in a best case 6 months of his life, and in a more realistic case, 12 months of his life. Just sharing, like there's some very big consequences. You don't get a win bonus. You don't get to move on. You got to do mundane things and go in the gym and train for the same guy. There's a lot that comes with it. It's very important that you have resolution. And we don't. And we don't because, to Henry's point, we don't have any balls. Make a call. If poking a guy is no big deal, fine. We used to soccer kick each other in the head. The boys will show up. If it is a big deal, make a call. And you'd be stunned how much an infraction, like no matter how much of a tough guy you are, you would be stunned how much an infraction will affect you, not only physically, but mentally. A fighter will fall apart. I really never saw this more than Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield was hitting Mike with shots that would be your worst nightmare. Like nowhere realistically in your life will you ever be touched the way that Evander was touching Mike every 4 and 5 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Mike fell apart because Evander was headbutting him. And the headbutts, while damaging and while annoying, and a headbutt certainly hurts, the headbutts were not as damaging or as painful or as hard as the punches he was taking. What cracked him on the headbutts is they weren't supposed to happen. And there's a piece of that. Whether you'll understand it or not, there's a piece of that psychologically. Like if you're wondering how could Tom take those kicks from Surreal and he could take those punches, but he couldn't take a finger like it. There's something about it, and I'm only sharing that with you because have some balls, like Henry said. If this is okay and this is an infraction, it'll stop hurting guys. Believe it or not, it will stop hurting guys. I've seen, and so have you, fighters, tough fighters, world champions, fall apart with the headbutt example. Fall apart. But there's other times in the sport where headbutts were legal, and those same guys could go out and endure them. When they knew it was coming, and it was allowed to come, and it was not a surprise, and it was not dirty, it was part of the rules, it was no problem. But you got to tell us ahead of time. Henry talked about that. He said, hey, you talk to me in the dressing room, and that is true. Every official and every commissioner will come in the dressing room, and he will explain the rules to you and ask if you have any questions. And Henry's saying, if that doesn't count as my warning, if that's not my warning right there, my warning cannot start until the match starts, I'm going to poke you in the eye. I'm going to poke you in the eye. What difference does it make? There was a wrestling match back in the 80s. It was a dual meet. Somebody from Oklahoma State. And he's out there wrestling 126 pounds. And he's down by 1. And he punches the guy. And they said, what'd you punch him for when the match was? He punches the guy. They restart the match. He shoots a double, right? The guy that threw the punch. Then shoots a double in right at short time. Gets the takedown, wins. Scores 2 points, wins by 1. They said, what'd you punch him for? And he said, I wanted to use my warnings. He said, I knew the first one didn't count. They gave me a warning. I wanted to throw him off, and it did. That was his answer. That was acceptable. And Henry's now saying that I'm going to use them. If you're not going to do anything, have some balls, tell me ahead of time, because I thought you did tell me. It's written down in your bylaws. You came in the back and you told me, don't do this. But apparently that's not a warning. So have some balls and make a decision. Are these allowed? Are they not? I really do understand Henry's point. And one of the great officiating jobs in the last meaningful amount of time, but it was a French fighter in the PFL, and he was trying to call timeout. He'd gotten a sliver had gone into his toe, and he was just trying to call it. He just wanted 1 second where the guy's not gonna, so he could just pit it and grab it. That's all he wanted. But he called timeout, and Mark Goddard stopped the fight, waved it off, and it was huge controversy. Mark Goddard was 1,000,000% right. There are no timeouts in MMA. Big guy calls a timeout, he's calling for a conclusion of the match. It does not matter if it's a sliver. It does not matter if it's a misunderstanding of the rules. There are rules. You enforce the rules. And I'm only sharing for you. Like, I don't suggest for you that any of these referees have done anything wrong. I just suggest for you got to grab them and you got to call it. There was great controversy to the referee, and it was Mark Smith, that stopped the Aljo Jan fight, gave a disqualification, and awarded a world championship to Sterling. Mark Smith was completely correct. He was completely correct. You don't hit a downed fighter. If you do, there's a remedy. Doesn't matter if there's a belt up. Doesn't matter if it's a main event. Here's the rules. Have some balls. Smith had balls. Goddard had balls. Henry's asking everybody to have balls. That seems like a pretty reasonable request to me.